everyone, welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan,
And I'm Meg.
and today we're talking about Dr. Stone, Episode 31, Secret Mission.
hmm In this episode, Chrome makes it back to the Kingdom Sciences base, where he bears witness to the steam gorilla for the first time. Meanwhile, with the help of the others and with his fake Lillian voice, Gen manages to convert even more people away from the Tsukasa Empire.
I like that description.
Yep, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, doesn't give away too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was season 2, episode.
7?
Okay, I
I have
trust
it
you.
written
I trust
down,
you
but
for the
I
sake
think
of
it was 7. It was
Okay,
7.
cool. For the sake of numbering podcast episodes for our seasons on Spotify, I I never write down like season 2 episode whatever. I just go chronologically up. But anyway, this covers manga chapter 73, Top Secret Mission, and 74, Fateful 20 Seconds.
Must have just be like just the beginning of that chapter.
Um, actually, no, it's the whole chapter because the chapter after that is called 20-second countdown.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, yeah, because you were telling me how it's
Yeah, like each page is a second.
yeah,
It's
that's kind of a
pretty
cool
cool.
idea. And we apologize in advance. We're both kind of dead
It's
right
been a
now.
long week.
So if we're not as excited or chatty as usual, that is why.
We're lucky Meg's even awake right now.
Right? There was a part of me before this, I was like, hopefully I'm awake at 9:30. Yeah, we'll see. I feel like next week might be even worse. So
I'll be carrying.
stay tuned. Uh, anyway, let's get into it. First, it starts with Chrome returning, and he's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to escape if Taiju and Yuzuri hadn't given me the battery." And Senku is like, yeah, no, that didn't happen."
It's
Uh,
like Taiju wouldn't have thought of that, and Yuzuriha is too busy with something else.
yes, with the secret mission.
Mhm.
Which is a call. Then we get called back all the way to episode 5 or 6, maybe, of the first
Yeah, when
season.
Senku first left those two.
Yeah, because I think we did actually see that scene
We
of
saw
him
that
like
scene, but
whispering.
you never knew what
Yeah,
he said until this episode.
yep. And now that Chrome is back, it's time for their next mission. They need to take the cave, and that's like their well, I guess Senku's goal is like whoever controls the cave can revive people.
And make
Um,
gunpowder.
yes, that too. Although I don't think the Tsukasa Empire is doing
No.
that. He's just focused on manpower. And actually, I'm sure Tsukasa doesn't want gunpowder.
No,
But
he wouldn't want any weapons apart from like stone tools
yeah,
and
he wouldn't want any modern weapons.
yeah,
Although gunpowder, I don't know. It's not that I don't know if I necessarily consider that modern.
not
But
necessarily the gunpowder itself, but the
yeah.
weapons
Yes,
that
the
use
weapons,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Um, and now it's Gen's turn to he needs to now that they have Nikki, they need to get more people, and we see that Nikki has been training Gen, and so now his voice is a perfect match to
Yes. Uh,
Lillian's.
so in the anime, she's like thinking, "Great job, Gen. I'm totally in love." And I think in the manga, she said something like, "I think I'm falling for you."
Yeah, she loves Lillian.
Yeah.
And Gen is doing a great job. He's bringing lots of people to their side, with the plan that he and Senku came up with. And but there is one hiccup in the plan, and that is Ukyo. He has super hearing, and he is not going to be fooled by Gen. And he Like, while everybody's like gathered around, he's like, well, I want to listen in to what you guys are doing. And like, I love that he's not even like, there was no like moment of like, what is this thing? Like, he's like, nope, I want to listen in to what you guys are
Yeah, there was no
hearing.
moment where he was
Like,
like, a phone? What? He was just like,
yeah,
oh, a phone call. Cool, let me listen.
yeah. So there wasn't anything even in the manga of like,
No, nope,
hmm.
he just kind of strolls up to them and is like, hey, everybody, you're having fun.
I, lo- I just, I love how like, I don't know if like cheeky is the right word, but
We can call
like
him
just
cheeky.
like the way he acts, because like, and then even like later in this episode, you kind of see who he really is, and you're like, oh, interesting. But anyway, yes, Ukyo wants to listen in, and he is not fooled for a second by Gen's impression. He's just like, hey, Gen.
Yeah, that was great. So, okay, this is a thing I had mentioned in a previous episode of ours, but I think this is something the dub did very well because in the sub and in the manga, Ukyo and Senku speak to each other in English so that everyone around them can't understand. But for the dub, I think it was really clever of them to change it to like that they're speaking softly, that they're whispering into the phones because I watched a clip in sub. It was very sweet because the voice actors do actually speak English. And so Ukyo basically says the same lines of like, "Oh, I know it's you again because even after singing so enthusiastically, there's no tremor in your voice." And like Sanku answers back in English and they have a conversation. Um his English he the voice actor does a good job with with speaking, but the word enthusiastically kind of tripped him up a little bit.
Yeah, not an easy, not an
But
easy word to say.
they do have, it's still English subtitles, so they're gonna translate everything. So I'm like, okay, okay, cool, that is what he said. But um, but yeah, I think it works pretty well for dub for them to be like, oh yes, now we're talking softly, so the people around us can't hear our conversation. So it still works. It still flows very well.
Hmm. This is where we learn. Well, Senku immediately figures out like, oh, you're the one who gave Chrome the battery, and then Ukyo, yeah, he's like, basically he's like, I'm not sure, not I'm not so sure about the Sukusen Empire, but I also am not so sure about you guys. But he knows about, but he's very, I guess I would say, intrigued by the Kingdom of Science because he knows about Yuzuriha's secret mission, and this is when we find out what it is. She's been trying to put back together the statues that Tsukasa has destroyed in hopes
Yes.
that um, they'll be able to revive them.
So basically, we get that again, that flashback scene of Senku giving her that mission, and what it comes down to is that the statues that Tsukasa broke, since they were recently broken, if you put them back together before the surface of the stone erodes, you can probably revive the person because of the healing properties of like being revived out of the stone.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, in between this little, I don't know, flashback monologue, we also see Tsukasa learns about that Chrome escaped, and we see what happened to Yo. He was in a truly honorable fashion.
He flew the coop
Yeah,
honorably.
yes, he's like, oh, tell Suicide I died, and
It was
and
my
they,
fault. It was all me, but I died, so no one gets the punishment.
yeah, I guess that was kind of one good thing. He was took like take all put all the blame on me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's off on his own now. Sorry.
Good luck,
He's
good riddance.
Yeah, he's another character.
He's
He's not mantle level,
fine.
but he's like, eh,
I'm
yeah.
I'm okay with him, but nothing beyond okay.
Hmm. I feel like okay, I was gonna say like I feel like he's on par with Magma, but I think I like Magma better.
I think I like
Uh,
Magma better too.
um, yeah, he grows on you. But anyway, after Ukyo's little speech, he basically like, I'm open to working with you guys. Um, but I have a condition. And again is like, okay, this is my time. I'm gonna n negotiate the the heck out of this. And then Senku like I don't remember, did you take the microphone? Did you take the phone
He
or
takes the speaker and he's like, "All right, what's your deal? What's your conditions?" He
yeah, I
just
won't do anything,
and
basically.
Gen's like, "You are terrible at this."
And Ukyo's condition is that he wants to save everyone. He doesn't want anyone to die.
He starts
Um,
crying.
yeah, it's so this is where you're like, oh, I mean, he already seemed like a good guy, but he's a good guy. Um, I just love it. And then he's like, I don't remember. I think he says like, I'm not a good guy. I'm just a coward. But then like he goes on this whole speech and is like, okay, no, you're a good guy.
I will get into that more after we finish the episode. But
hmm
yes, I have more to say on that point. But what I wanted to say is they they kind of cut him off in the anime before he can say this, but here's a little bit of how it goes down in the manga. So Uki's like, that's my condition. But if you kill even a single person, be warned, because I'll and then Senku cuts him off and says, interesting, you got yourself a deal. I've been saying all along, hopefully there'll be no bloodshed. We're just gonna have to change hopefully to definitely.
hmm Yeah, I like it. I mean, Senku's like, of course, that's already the plan, so I agree. Yeah, so now they got Ukyo on their side. And also one other before the scene ends, Ukyo like realizes like, oh, Hyoga killed his men. And he
Yeah.
tells Senku like Hyoga and Tsukasa are the two most powerful guys there, and they're very different.
Yes.
And
He's basically saying like in that confrontation by like the sulfuric acid
hmm
pond, um Hyoga had claimed, oh yes, Senku used his science tricks and killed these guys. But he's like, now that I've talked to you, Senku, and I know that you don't want bloodshed, I know it couldn't have been you. And I think Ukyo is also like, I don't trust Hyoga, and I think he did it. But
hmm
he's like, Hyoga and Tsukasa will come to blows at some point. It's only a matter of time. Things are gonna get bad.
Yeah. Did we ever look up how old Hyoga was?
23.
Okay.
Ukyo's still older than him.
Yeah.
Oh, side note, I saw this really cute like fan manga page somebody had made, and it was in Japanese, so I couldn't read it, but somebody had put like what they thought the rough translation was, and it was basically like Ukyo's with Gen and Senku and Chrome in them, and I think Gen is like, "So how old are you, Ukyo?" And he's like, 24, and everyone just looks at him like, "What? Really?" Because, he kind of has a baby face.
hmm Yeah. Um, yeah, now the end of the episode. Well, now we see what Ukyo is talking about because Hyoga and Tsukasa are at Senku's grave, and Tsukasa has Yo's like little mask that he was
His
wearing.
stone eye patch
Yeah.
thing.
And he's like starts to bury it and he like lists off a bunch of names and Hyoga's like, "What are you saying?" And he's like, "Those are all the people we've lost." And Hyogo's like, "What?"
Whatever.
Like, yeah. Um, so basically
Just
confirming, yeah, they're gonna be in trouble.
it is
Um,
so weird hearing Kyoga's voice now that we've also heard Jerry Jewell as Momo from Free. He goes from being this guy who's like, Yahoo! Let's swim all the time to being this like, I don't care if I kill people.
yeah, he's got a good, but he honestly does, he's got a good voice for both.
Yeah. He
Like it
can do
works.
like really good villain voices, but he also
Mm-hmm.
can go into like a high light range too.
Yeah. So can Yuki's voice actor. Like they
Oh,
both,
Eric Vale. Yes,
yeah, they
yeah.
both like play villains and but then
Did you
like
know
the
I
hmm.
saw I saw a panel on YouTube. It was from Anime Con like 2 years before we went for the first time, and it was a Yuki Kyo panel they had together. They were both there at the same time.
Ah, that'd be so great. Dang it, 2 years.
Yep.
Could have made it. Whatever. We didn't know.
We weren't as big of fans back then, so wouldn't
No,
have been
that's
worth
true.
it.
That's true. Um, anyway, the final battle is almost ready to be started because their paper tank is complete. Um, and we also see that in addition to their tank, Senku has made a leather ruptured disc, which is also he basically it's a burst diaphragm. So I think it makes like a really loud noise, right? If
Yeah,
that's
like you fill it up, it gets filled up with gases and it explodes, which makes the loud noise, and it also can propel like a cannonball.
yes. Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but
No,
it's a
yeah.
one shot and it's over kind of thing. Like you can only use it once.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But then, super happy, Taiju and Yuzuriha are reunited with Senku, and it's so great. I love I love Taiju like runs in for a hug and Senku like very like quickly, easily avoids it.
Yep.
Um
And he and
but
Yuzuriha just look at each other and kind of have like this silent, like it's good to see you look, you
yeah,
know?
I mean they're all best buds. So great.
Yeah. This is a really sweet comment too. So there was a time I was like just listening to different voice actor panels like that podcasts had done, and there was one that had a lot of the main cast of Dr. Stone on it. And so Kohaku's voice actress, Felicia Angel, talked about when she got to say the line like I've never met you, but I already know who you are, Taiju. And she said that was like a really important moment for her because it was one of the first times she got to hear Rico Fajardo's voice, so Taiju's voice after the quarantine lockdown, and it was really special to her to be connected to her friend again.
Mhm. That's sweet.
Mhm.
Yeah, but now that everybody's reunited, it's time to take the cave. And right before they all head there and right before Senku is like I don't remember exactly what it is, but he's like the first the basically the Tsukasa Empire will have they'll only have the instinct to like run away for 20 seconds. So they need to take take the cave in 20 seconds.
Yep. It's all about that element of surprise and the fact that people can't think straight until like, they need time to formulate a plan to be able to fight back. So
Mm-hmm.
they're banking on shock and awe.
Yep. And it's time, but the episode ends.
Yep. So we got some manga extra things. First off, when I was going back through to write some notes, it was really cute. I didn't notice this before, but when Ukyo and Senku were like whispering over the phone to each other, there's this point where Ukyo's like leaning in to whisper, and he's right in front of the grave marker, so it's like the cross, and he just kind of poof, like his hat just kind of like plops against it. And they actually like the artist actually drew the little poof as he leans in.
Cute. Also, I forgot one thing, one important thing
Mm,
about the episode. Um, Hyoga and Tsukasa find the
found
phone.
the phone. Well,
Oops.
dang, that's kind of important to know. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I forgot to write it down. But
Whoops. Anyway, getting to the real manga notes. So there's a Mecha Senku Q&A. So it says, I'm jealous that Ukyo and Gen are so fluent in English. Is Senku fluent too? And Senku says, Ukyo learned English through his job in the self-defense forces, and Gen traveled to the US to perfect his magic act. Here are the English abilities of the current major players. Note, average ability is a C. So Ukyo is a double S ranked English speaker. Senku is S, Gen is S, Tsukasa is A, Hyoga is B, Homura is D, Miki is B, Yuzuriha is C, Taiju and Yo are both Z. So I think that means like not a lick of English. They can't understand any of
I believe that.
it. Um, but good for us if we were ever petrified and revived in the kingdom of science. At least Ukyo could know what we're saying, and Senku and Gen would probably know most of what we're saying too.
Hmm.
Another cute little manga note. Sometimes the artist just draws little caricatures between the chapters, and one of them is Senku dressed in a very familiar outfit. He's wearing Asta's uniform from Black Clover. I appreciated that one.
Nice. You take a picture and I'll
Yeah, for
upload
sure.
it.
I
Um
he doesn't fill out Asta's uniform as well, though. Asta's way more muscular than him.
Shocking. Somebody's more
Yeah.
muscular
Oh,
than
right.
Senku?
I think I'm more muscular than Senku.
Eh, probably. I think me and him might be right now might be about the same.
Hey, if you got back into swimming though, you'd have him beat.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and so this was a big episode for Senku because he said get excited twice.
He was
And
really
it was
excited
like
about his
it
tank.
yeah, in the span of like a minute, basically.
I mean, did you see his face? He was crawling in the tank and he had like glee in his eyes.
He
Yeah.
spent so much time on it.
Yeah. And I just made my paper and I can tell you that's a labor of love there, which I did not put much effort into.
Yeah, we'll see if I
Yeah,
uh
more on that later.
yeah, hopefully I'll get to that. Maybe
Yeah.
over Thanksgiving.
Okay, animation expertise. So my favorite visual for this episode is the one of Gen standing over Lillian and he's like puppeteering her. It's creepy and looming, and are we sure we're on the good guy side? But I like it, especially in the manga because the mangaka has a flair for using like a thick brush pen for like the more dramatic scenes. So it kind of like gets messy at the bottom. It just looks really cool. So, oh, and moving on, the thing I wanted to talk about before concerning Ukyo. So he was saying like, I'm a coward because I watched Tsukasa destroy these statues, and I justified it in my head because he didn't want to make waves, he didn't want to cause any, like fighting or do anything, I don't know, to like upset anyone or have reason to have conflict, I suppose. So he said, I just thought of the statues as like inanimate objects. We're not really killing people, but he knew in his heart that that was wrong. So I think it's kind of biblical actually. Like there's a Bible verse. It's James 4:17. It says, "If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is a sin for them." So I think that was what Ukiyo was getting at. Um, I myself can see how he would label that as cowardice. I can also see that as just him being a very cautious person, because as soon as he had the opportunity to make a change, as soon as Senku came into his life, he was like, I think I can align myself with him. We can make this work. I just
Mm.
he needed a group to be a part of to make a
Yeah,
difference.
I agree. That's what I was gonna say. Like when it's the Tsukasa Empire against one guy,
You're
like you're
just gonna get ousted or killed or something.
yeah.
But it also took him seeing Yuzuriha, like one singular person doing something, like seeing
hmm
her little act of rebellion. He's like, she's just one person, and look what she's doing. What am I doing? Like
hmm
he's like, I'm just lying in wait. So I don't know. I think that was very cool of him to be so self-aware like that.
Yeah, he's a very good character. I really like him, but not as much as some other people I know.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I may have a little bit of a fictional crush on Nukio. And when I say, like, oh, do you have a crush on an anime character? Yeah, he's got white hair and blue eyes. You might think I'm talking about Gojo. Nope, Ukyo.
I
I
get it.
think Ukyo is better than Gojo. Come at me.
Ooh, those are fighting words, I
I
think.
know. You should share my meme about my anime hot takes.
Oh yeah, I was going to tomorrow actually. So this will already so hopefully you already have seen it. Um yes, okay, so that's the what we have for the episode. Now on to other stuff. For our book club, we are reading the Selection series and we just finished the first book and we both have already read it before. Um The other person in our book club has not.
I'm just waiting
And
for her reactions.
yes, no, I love she already oh man.
She already guessed something.
Yeah, and we looked at each other. We like,
I was holding it in.
yeah. I was like, don't say anything, don't say anything.
I just said that
Um,
would be nice, wouldn't it?
yep. Yeah. So I just I love those books. I don't know why, because like part of me is like, oh, it's kind of ridiculous because they're basically like The Bachelor, but the guy is so amazing. Like he's a real person, and like
Yeah,
they and so is like most of the other girls too. Like it's not like a little catty competition, like for the most
mostly.
part. Um,
Some of the girls cry a lot though.
that's true, but I that's real life. I I neither okay, neither of us are criers, so
Sorry
I,
for passing judgment. I'm sorry.
yeah, like I know girls who are actually like that, and every time like I'm with them and they start crying, I'm like, what's
What do
happening?
I do? You're like Max, and he's like, I can't stand when women cry.
Oh yeah.
No, no,
So
we're the type of girls who go, women, and we are women.
yeah, no, we're like, women then go do like the exact same thing.
Yeah, true. I'm not like other girls I say as I do what other girls do.
Yep. Something that I think you realize when you spend any amount of time on the internet is that I wouldn't s I everybody's unique, but like a lot of people do a lot of the same things or think the same way that you do, and we're just not sharing it in public. But we are on the internet for some reason.
Uh,
Like it's crazy. Like sometimes I'll be like reading something or watching some reel and it's like this very specific thought that I had, somebody else had too, and I was like, I'm
I
not
feel
special.
I was gonna say like I feel seen.
Or that, yeah. Mostly
Or
that.
or I'm not special. I don't know.
Or I'm not crazy.
I'm not great. That's the big one. No, no, especially when I'm reading manga and like a character will say something I've thought about before. Just like, oh, I know I'm not the only one because this may be a fictional character, but the mangaka thought this enough to include it in their story, to include a character like this, like me. So
hmm
they either must feel that way or know people in their own life who feel that way.
Yep. I always like think of like the one song from Dear Evan Hansen. I love that one. Oh, what is it called? The one with like his speech.
Yeah, you will be found.
Yep. Anyway, other thing. Well, no, yeah, we said last week we kind of finished Free.
Yeah, we explained that
Yeah,
ordeal.
we won't explain it again. But now well, Megan's already seen it, but I am starting the seventh season of My Hero.
Yep. Well, it's nice to watch it again though, because I was watching it when it came out week by week, so some things are a little disjointed in my brain.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying it so far. It starts out it's a lot. Like I just okay, I do enjoy it, but I mean it's very superhero. And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, obviously you have to suspend a belief, lots of belief, but sometimes it pushes my limits a little bit. Um,
Like, how on earth did he do that? And don't
yeah,
tell me it's because of his quirk.
how is he still alive? Like, what's happening? Okay, whatever.
Hey, hey, at least it wasn't like JJK where he gets slammed through 5 buildings and comes out standing on the others.
Yeah. Wait, okay, that reminds me. Did you ever see like the Superman, the first Superman movie with Henry Cavill in it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's what it's like. It's like,
Okay.
I'm gonna throw you through 10 buildings and then I'm fine. And then I'm gonna throw you through 10 buildings and
That's
I'm
why
totally fine.
That's why The Incredibles is the best superhero movie because when Mr. Incredible throws a guy through like 5 walls, he's like in a full body cast.
Yep. Uh, anyway, but I'm enjoying it. After like honestly, after we got past that, then I was like,
Yeah.
it's okay. We'll see what happens. We're only like 5 episodes in, so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Stuff goes down.
I know. That's because we're getting towards the end.
Yep,
So
only one season to go.
I know so many things are ending because
I
Dr.
know.
Stone. Oh yeah, another. Did did that trailer that you sent me just come out?
It did. Like when I sent
Okay.
it to you, it had only been up for like an hour.
How are you? Did it just show up on your For
It just
You?
showed up on my For
Okay.
You.
Okay. I was like,
But it looks
how do you find
awesome.
this stuff so fast?
No, it just showed up. It fell into my lap, but it showed two new characters and one had a gun.
Oh yeah, that one. I was like,
He had a
hmm.
machine gun. Well, it was in Japanese, so I couldn't catch everything, but I
Yeah.
did hear machine gun or something like that.
Oh, that's funny. I heard lots of Kono uh
Oh no, so no.
and
Disney.
yep, lots of the words that you learn from Duolingo.
Well, I
But
might be meeting somebody who's Japanese soon, so maybe she can give me some
give you
tips.
some tips.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Oh man. Let's finish this up. What was your favorite line of the episode?
Mine came from Ukyo. I can't bear to see anyone else die. Isn't that the last shred of humanity we can hold on to in this crazy world?
Mm, I really like that line.
Yeah. What about you?
Mine came from Kohaku. At the end of the episode, where she's like, "Everybody get ready. These next 20 seconds will decide the future of humanity."
Yeah.
And what did we learn in this episode?
You can overcome cowardice when surrounded by the right people.
And who pushed the story forward?
First of all, Ukyo for joining the Kingdom of Science, but also Yuzuriha for her secret mission.
Yes. All right, I'm very excited for the next episode. It's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, so we will be back next week.
Yes, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.